Colonel Bergman, this is Jean with WG on the Zoo. And I'm wondering if you can answer the runoff question that I had. What does that translate into acre feet? Since we have 82,000 acre feet of capacity available between all 3 or 4 dams, how much runoff have you predicted that we're expecting?
Just, if I could just, that's from my statement.
Okay.
And the 82,000 is additional acre feet that they made. So I don't know what the total amount of acre feet.
Oh no, I'm just asking about how much are we going to fill that additional space that was made?
Do you have that answer, Colonel?
To get an exact number, no. I mean, with the acre feet, basically right now, with the way what our drawdown is going to over the next 3 to 4 weeks, we will be able to handle the snow melt with no additional precipitation. Again, this is over 3 weeks. We will be able to adjust, maintain, and manage the outflow to roughly what it is now or a lot less, and we will still be able to fill up Lake Darling by the middle of May, or 1 June for our target for their summer pool. So right now, with the melt that's out there, we look like we can handle that, and that's what the drawdown is for.
I'm wondering if anyone can give us kind of perspective here. Before 2011, none of us, the public really paid much attention to spring runoff and what it meant and what it translated to. Could somebody give us perspective on how what's going on today, right now, this year, compares to years past? Is this typical, normal, or is this abnormal runoff that we're experiencing, or abnormal flows?
I can try.
This is Colonel Bergman. I'll kind of lead off with this. Actually, from the previous years, not just 2011, this is actually normal for runoff and everything. As we get later on into the season, the key will be additional precipitation through rainfall. That's where it could change, and as we know, in a short amount of time. But right now, this is an average snow melt, our average way we've done business, over the past 10 to 15 years.
I would probably add to that I think after being up there, it's going to be an abnormal.
This is Colonel Bergman also, and if I'm cutting off somebody, I apologize. One thing I caution people on comparing this year versus 2 years ago. Look at the event and the procedures, because in time and space it's a lot different. The freeze is still, this year we're way behind where we were last year, so when you're comparing elevations and everything and runoff and everything, I just caution you to not go by date, but look at the whole picture. I kind of see us falling into a trap there of going, at this time 2 years ago, it is totally different, and that's based on Mother Nature right now. Thanks.
And I agree with that. But I also think that it's abnormal snow in the Souris River Basin in Canada, and a lot of snow in our basin. And particularly, I think we need to keep a very keen eye on the Dikes. As we came down and looked at the Dikes River, it's very narrow, and there is a lot of runoff that goes into that river, and the timing's going to have to be right. If that comes off fast between Lake Darling and the Dikes, we're going to need to make some quick changes as far as what comes out of Lake Darling.
Kurt, just so you know, when Ryan and I were out yesterday, we noticed that the Dikes is starting to break up.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that, but just towards Burlington a little bit.
Has to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, my question about the dikes, we heard several times that they're back to the pre-211 status or height or protection level, but at the same time, we can see that some areas have sloughed off, some areas have been undercut, and remain that way today. And I'm wondering what assurances you can give people that those areas are or are not a problem, or will be addressed, or don't need to be addressed. That's my question.
I think I could answer that, but I'm going to have Jason because he knows it for sure.
After 2011, the Corps was out here and did a walkthrough with us and looked at all the erosion areas and determined a course of action for fixes. And the ones you see that have maybe sloughed away and haven't been repaired are ones that they didn't deem as a critical repair. We're monitoring them. We know where they're at, just in case something happens, and we're keeping an eye on them.
Hi, Julie from KMOT. So what you guys were saying that in 2011 there maybe wasn't as much communication with the public, but this time there's going to be a lot more. So just besides, you know, what we in the press give out, what other things would you want to take out, communicate with the public on, let them know? Because some people may say that in 2011 maybe there wasn't as much, but now, I know you guys are taking so much precaution.
I really think that this year you folks out there with the media have done a great job of getting information out. I mean, I think people have been pretty well kept up to date on what's going on. We really haven't known any more than you have as we've gone along, and therefore that's why we probably haven't had this press conference until now. People are just kind of wondering where we're at. I can tell you that early on, with some of our conversations, we asked that when the Corps knows something, they've got a list of people to get that information to, so that there's not a 2-hour gap or anything else. Once they have it, if they're going to make any kind of change, or if it's anything that everybody should know, or we should know, they're going to get it to us. And I think that's going to work very well, and it's going to help us all with that communication the way it is. And we have no reason as a city to hold anything. If we have something and we know it, we're going to get it out, and it'll be on our webpage, or it'll be publicly given to you. Anyone else? Sure.
One last thing, because it's kind of related to that question. I'd ask for a favor from the media, and that is that the National Weather Service, we're receiving more phone calls than we typically do about the Mouse River potential flooding, and that's fine. We're 24/7. We're there to take those calls. But a lot of those calls are, well, I heard this, and I heard that, and we know how that goes. We're human beings, and you told me, and I told you, and we're all, and then it's an out of control rumor that's not true. So to try and help control those, and to the folks who are listening or watching, that when you hear something, don't always assume it's correct. Try and verify that information somehow.
Josh Walski again, Minot Voice. Speaking to the City of Minot's contingency plans. Mr. Mayor, you mentioned you're concerned about the DeLac. Every day that goes by, the melt gets later, the likeliness of it becoming more sudden increases. In the event of we have to raise dikes again, what are the City of Minot's plans? Do we have contractors in place? What is the time frame for that procedure to unfold, and what's the decision point that triggers that action?
Jason, can you handle that?
We've contacted our local contractors. They're on standby. They said they're all ready to pitch in if we need them. Basically, as far as our plans go, we watch what the projections are. Currently, we have some low spots that need to be filling in. We don't start building large pieces of diking until 7,000 CFS. We start doing some of the closures next to the streets and some of those things.
Has that procedure been reevaluated since 2011? Has there been a look back on saying whether maybe there might be a better way to do that?
We evaluate every year when we go through these. This is every year we find maybe more problem spots. We put them on our list of things to respond to quicker and faster. put them at the top of the list.
Okay.
And that's what we've handled it.
So maybe a 7,000 CFS flow level, that would trigger the city of Minot's elevated flood response in terms of hire our contractors and build the dikes to higher levels.
I would say if we knew we were going to have 7,000, we'd be looking at doing
Okay.
something. And the first thing we're going to do is try and stay along the river.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we can hold it there, that's what we'll do. Now, I don't expect the reports that we're getting and what we're seeing, it doesn't look like the releases would come close to 7,000, but that can change, and so we have to be prepared.
Can Mayor Grunberg maybe talk about you were talking about being prepared to do some work on the Delac River when it comes to diking, and is there a trigger level for that as well, or we're not at that point, or what's that decision making process like, and how do you know when to implement that plan?
It's been our experience that when the service is flowing at, say, 5,000 CFS, we're in control on the Delacs also. But when it goes over that, then we get pushback on the Delacs. So if it appears like we're going to be going to that 5,000 CFS level or higher, that we're going to go ahead and start prepping some of these areas if we have to build levees in a hurry. But we probably will hold back on doing that until we get the word that it's actually going to go over that, if it does. We don't expect that it does, but as I said before, we're going to stay optimistic. But we will prepare some of the areas so that we can get in there quickly and do that.
No matter what, you'll prepare?
No matter what, yeah.
So you're going to do that?
We have some diking materials that were left in the city, and as soon as we can start moving some of that, we will prepare the bed for the levees, and it will probably become a permanent part of our system. But it doesn't mean that it's under emergency conditions right now. We just want to be ready for it in case it does turn into an emergency.
Okay, any other questions? Now I want to thank you all for being here. I hope we got some information out to the public. Always good. And let's hope everything goes well. It will. Thank you.